So today is Thursday, February 21st, and I'm starting out by going over Wednesday night's homework. This was what Wednesday night's homework looked like, and these were the answers, and I'm just kind of going to push this up and show you. Okay, listen, pretend like this is a test, guys, and grade it. Look at it right now, the ones of you who did it. So, you should have 0.06. You should have 3/50ths. You should have 0.008. You should have 1 over 125. Yes. Guys, if that decimal's not there, it is wrong.
No, I was like the number. I meant the number. Yeah, I just did the fraction. Yeah, that's all.
But listen, this part, tomorrow there won't be any like this, but it did ask for both things. Only on the first section, I think.
See, I did not do that.
Or no, there's actually one other section. Yes.
On numbers 3 on the first square, on 2.3, if you were to put a 0 behind it 5 times.
That would still be right. That is okay, like that. That decimal, though, has to be between the 2 and the 3. Okay. The next few. Number 4. I got 64%, then 56%, and 15%. Sometimes I need to do both boxes to get there. Sometimes I don't. It just matters. Any on that? Anybody question why I got what I got?
Wait, that's true. What's the answer to number 7? It's 11 to
Okay, so number 7. Listen, I'm going to talk about it. This is one of the hard ones, 7 and 8. And honestly, I did 7 and 8 on the video last night. So, guys, please stop. On number 7, basically what you're going to have to do, if they give you a percent that has a decimal, what I did is I took that percent with the decimal, and I know that any percent can be that number over 100. Now it looks weird. 5.5 fraction bar over 100. That looks weird. I've combined a decimal and a fraction bar. So what I do is I divide it. 5.5 divided by 100. Now, when I do that, I get this weird decimal. I get this thing. Okay? That means, what this means is 55 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 55 over 1,000. Then I simplified it to 11 200ths. It's a multi-step problem that takes going kind of back and forth, or at least for me it does. Okay?
On number 6, I got everything right, and decimal and percentage. All the fraction, I got
3/20ths.
Or no, I got 1/20.
Something's up, I think. Try 15 ABC 100 then. Well, and you didn't have to have that one, so I don't know. I could be wrong. I got 3/20ths. Okay. I'm telling you, some of you need to kind of what I'm going to call, and this sounds silly, but I'm seeing little mistakes. And you need to pick up your calculator and kind of look at it like this sometimes. And make sure that you're seeing where the decimal is or where that number is. Okay. Number 8 is an odd one. In the end, or what you had to do with number 8, I personally had to take this percent and change it to the decimal with the percent. I then could put it over 100 like I did up here, divide it out, and then the way you read that is 875 thousandths. And if I put that with the ABC button, I get 7/8. So 7/8 is that final answer. tomorrow, when they say simplest form, I mean, you got to get to that answer.
On number 9, I got.
Okay, give me a second.
14.
Okay.
14%, but I didn't understand how to do number 9 because 40 doesn't go like.
Okay, number 9. Please listen. I wasn't on number 9, but that's okay. Okay, number 9. Started out as 14/40ths. So what I did is I took 14 and I divided by 40 with the division button. I got that, and then to get the percent, I bring it over twice to the right, or you could say times 100. Okay. On number 10, I had 7 tenths. I did 7 divided by 10. I got 0.7. Bring it twice to the right to make 70%. Number 11. It was 220%, and on 11 and 12, they wanted both things. So, I took, on 11, I took 220% and put it over 100 and simplified to get 2 1/5. I could also bounce the decimal twice to the left to get 2.2, or divide by 100. Same thing here. I did this. I know that 8 is in the 10,000ths column. And then, yes, you got to know how to simplify because the ABC button won't work. Well, when you read this number, 0.0008, it is officially 8 10,000ths. Well, you can't put 8 ABC 10,000. It gives you I think it gives you the decimal answer. So you got to know how to simplify. When you're simplifying, all you're doing is you're finding one number that can go into the top and the bottom evenly, the same number.
But what if it's like a really complicated one?
Guys, you should be able to simplify the ones we're giving you, just to be honest. And you have a calculator. You should still be able to simplify. Guys, it doesn't matter what number it is. It honestly is a guessing game when simplifying. Look and see if they're even. If they're both even numbers, divide by 2. If they end in a 5 and a 0, or both zeros, we know we can divide by 5 or 10. You got to know how to do that without a calculator. What is worrying me, and I've given every class this speech today, when we roll around to these lovely Scantron tests in the end of April, March, whenever it is, I don't even know, they don't know yet if we're going to be able to use that fancy calculator. We may have to go back. I've literally told every class this today, so I know I'm videoing in here, and y'all think I don't say the same stuff, but I promise I am. They're talking about letting us only use, and part of it you may not have a calculator at all, but part of it we may only have a 4-function cheapy calculator with add, subtract, multiply, divide. Listen, that is normal. Okay? So when you're looking at something like this, if you can't use the ABC button, can y'all see where I'm writing? Okay. You should be able to look at two numbers, and like especially this one, and go, oh, they're even. 8 is an even number. That ends in a 0. It's an even number. So I can divide by 2. You still got the calculator sitting there. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 10,000 divided by 2 is 5,000. Now, I look at that. I go, okay, you know what? They're both even again. So I can still divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 5,000 divided by 2 is 2,500. Okay, so I look again. I've got a 2 on top and a 0 on the end. That means it's divisible by 2 again. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into that. Yes. You just simplified without an ABC button. You used a division button. You've got to be able to do that. I don't know how else to say that. Okay. So go into the back, or go into the bottom ones, I'm sorry. Let's see. 13, 14. Here's some of them. Let's see. 11, 12. Wait a minute. Where did I stop it? 1 second. 11, 12. Okay. So, here's 13, 14. 15 and 16. One of the biggest confusions has been this one today, taking 2 3/5. If that 2 is in the front here, guys, it's in the front of the decimal. Then take the 3/5, do 3 divided by 5 and get the 0.6, and then move the decimal twice, or do times 100. Yes?
On number
11.
16.
16.
I got 0, 0, 0, 0, 2. Just take the zeros out.
Okay.
That's what my calculator.
But you can't. Listen, zeros matter. I wouldn't want anyone to take my zeros out of my calculator. I mean, out of my paycheck. I knew what I was saying. Okay. So I want you to look right here. This is what we started with, right? Like 1 over 500 was the math problem. Okay, so if I divide 1 divided by 500, what is happening with a lot of you guys, it's not just this class, it's all classes. When you do this, y'all aren't copying it right off the calculator. It is 0.002. 0.002. Only 2 zeros. So, that's where I got that number from. Does that make sense?
So you take the zeros out.
Right. When you, not exactly, listen. When you're going from a decimal to a percent, are we timesing times 100 or dividing by 100?
Dividing. Oh, times.
Timesing. So if I take that number, 0.002, and I do times 100, it's 0.2%. That's the problem. Listen, you can't. Can't. You want to make sure, if you're not sure which way to move the decimal, you want to know that if you got something in this column, thank you, and you do times 100, like, take that number, and if you do times 100, you should get that.
Yeah, I got that.
And then take, you got to know the mathematical way, not just the bounce it twice to the left or the right, okay? If you're going from here to here, you're dividing by 100. So you would take 0.2, divide by 100, and you should have that. Okay? That's just a way to check your math. Like, especially when you get a bunch of zeros flying around, because it can get a little weird. 13, 2,900%.
Okay, also, like, I got that for number 15. Like, I just did this, like, the calculator, and then I moved it. Well, no, I just left it.
You can't. There's rules about all this, like moving and all that. Okay.
You have like 29 or something percent. That just doesn't sound right.
I know. Some of the percents, it's like this though, and I kind of told another group this. Well, we don't think about percentages having decimals, because when we're in a store, we see 20% off, we see 30% off, but they can't. The one place that, if you're ever wanting to see some really weird numbers, look at the stock exchange. Look at the stock market. And where you're watching like a CNBC or one of the news channels and that ticker tape thing's running across the bottom with all the numbers, it's got weird stuff on it. And it has to do with percentages and decimals. And some of those are good things. People are making money, and some of them aren't. That's where we're going with this eventually. Okay, on the top here, the top 3 here, I asked you to change all those to decimals. Then I asked, you had to answer each question correctly, least or greatest or whatever they wanted. I will tell you right now, there is one like number 20 tomorrow. like number 20. So you got to be able to take a fraction and do whatever it takes to get it in the right order from least to greatest. I personally divide. That's where I got all those little yellow circles at. And then I compare those. Because to me they look like money. But you can't, guessing isn't going to really probably get you the right answer.
I guess on the last two, I didn't know which ones were.
I can kind of guess at it, but I have a reason behind my guessing, I guess. Like I know 3/4 is 75%. But stop. And I know that 5/6 is more than half. Like I have some reasons behind what I do, but I don't trust it. I would never want to walk in here and just be like guessing at, do I have the right answers? And I'm showing them to a class full of students. So me to prove my math is right, that's why I do all that. So, yes.
On number 17, I got, what says like number 17, I said.
Wait a minute. Do more kids say that they want to see into the future or to become invisible? Now, we're on these two. I need y'all to know something, though. That, when you divide it, is 0.18. So that's like 18 cents. This gave you probably 0.2. But 0.2, you got to put a 0 behind it. That's 20 cents. It's not 2 cents. If it was 2 cents, it would be 0.02. So that's why that one is, they wanted, which one did they want more of? So that's why I did that one. Okay, and a lot of kids have done that today. Going down to the bottom ones here, 21 and so on. Let's see. These are the ones I did. Okay, so I took, slow down. Okay, so 21 was 0.275. Okay, 0.27 is, like if you read this, it is 275 thousandths. That 5 right there is in the thousandths column. Then I did ABC button to get 11/40ths. Does that help? The percentage would be 27.5%. But then that would give you a weird decimal. You'd have to come back over here and still do that to get that. So, that one, 16 and 5 thousandths, simplifies to 16 and 1/200. 23 was taking 11/20ths. I just took that and divided it. I know if I take a fraction, divide it, I get a decimal. Same thing on that one. Take 6/30ths, divide it, I get a decimal. Now, the one that worries me, 25, I took 8, and I divided 3 by 8, and I got 0.375. Okay. Yes. What number?
I got. Oh, never mind. I put them on number 23.
Okay, so you just got them in the wrong order or whatever. Okay. Here's the two that worry me. On 26 and 27, you have got to know how to do this. And you got to know it on your own. And some of you need to kind of wake up and look up here. Okay, to find the percent of a number, you're finding a chunk of something. It might be a coupon. It might be a tip. Okay? This one is that this kid made 48% of 25 shots. So, the first step is you got to change it to a decimal. Change your percent to a decimal. So I made it 0.48. I did the times 25. That means he made 12 of his shots. Made 12 of them out of 25. Same thing here. 70% of 12. You've got to bounce it twice before you can multiply. I got some kids saying it's like 84 or 840. You got to change it to a decimal before you can multiply. Okay.
I'm correcting somebody because we divided 12 to yeah.
Yeah, don't divide. Use of means multiply. Of means multiply. The last part, I took it personally and made them into decimals, and then I put them in that order. You could have done percentages because it wasn't a big deal. In the end, it was bears, tigers, mustangs. Now, for you guys who are paying attention to me today, which is some of you, we're going to do a review today. And this review has a almost perfect example of what the test looks like tomorrow. But, you know, my thing is this. If you do this, then tomorrow the test, you'll be like, oh, this wasn't that bad. Because you will have seen some of the questions before. But if you sit here and you don't do it, good. It's not going to get any better. So, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and start. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you probably like 1 through 5 or 1 through 10. And then a few minutes later, I'll show you a few more. Okay. Now, I'm basically going to start going over some of these, and if you are wondering how I'm doing it, that's the reason I'm kind of videoing it. It's just some kids kind of need more help than others. Starting out with number 1 here. This is not a time for you to start talking because I started talking. Thank you, though. Okay, so if you got number 1 right, then do number 2. Okay, here we go. Number 1. If I take 1/4 and I put it in the fraction column, I am taking 1 and dividing by 4 to get 0.25. Then the final percent is 25%. Okay. Number 2, they want me to write 92% as a fraction. So I took 92%, I put it over 100 because percent sign means over 100. I then simplified. I just used the ABC button. I did 92, ABC 100 equals, and I got 23/25. Good so far? Okay. The third one. This is one of the weird ones that it takes a lot of math for. I took 20, it starts out as 22.5%. I take that percent and I put it over 100. But it doesn't look right because I got a decimal and 100. A decimal divided by 100. So, if I divide 22.5 divided by 100, I get 0.225. Then I have to take that number and read it correctly. It's not 0.225, it is 225 thousandths. That's why I put it over 1,000. Then I use the ABC button to get 9/40. So your final right answer is only 9/40. Okay, number 4. They want 0.09% written as a decimal. Well, if you divide by 100, you get that decimal, 0.0009. Number 5, they want 575% written as a mixed number. So, I know it's a percent. I can put it over 100. If I simplify it, I get 5 7/75, which in the end totally simplifies to 5 3/4. Number 6, they want 0.339 written as a percent. I know if I take a decimal and do times 100, that's what I would get. And that decimal has to be there. It can't be anywhere else, and you've got to have percent signs on percents. Or they're wrong, yes. Number 7. It starts out as 7 1/5. They want you to get to a percent, but honestly, I can't do that without making that thing a decimal. So I take the big 7, and I make a big 7 in front of a decimal. That's the same thing. I take 1 over 5, and I divide it in my calculator. 1 divided by 5. I get 0.2. I kind of put them together down here. That is, if I bounce the decimal twice to the right, it's 720%. Number 8, they want 154% written as a fraction. So I take that percentage, I put it over 100. Honestly, I just use the ABC button. And I got 1 27/50. If you're just sitting here copying my work, it is not going to help you. You need to honestly take this test, take this thing, and then check it tonight. Check it. Okay, number 9, 17/20. I can't just jump to some percentage, so I had to take 17/20 and divide it. 17 divided by 20, and I got that 0.85. Once I'm there, I can do times 100, and I get 85%. Number 10 is 141%, and they want a decimal. So that's definitely not too bad. Take 141, divide by 100 to get a decimal, and drop the percent sign. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Hopefully you are getting there or finishing up. Okay, I will now go over the back end of this worksheet. Going through the answers, I basically took 1/2, made it 0.5. Then I compared them. That one is less. I made 3/4 0.75. Checked them all. That one's the same. Took number 13. You can kind of see I took each fraction and made them these numbers. Picking D for my answer. Number 14, I took 0.9, means 9/10. 2 3/10 is how you read that one. 1/5 is 1 divided by 5, which is 0.2. 6 1/4 is 6 in the front. Take 1 and divide by 4, you get 0.25. Put it together to make 6.25. Okay, 3 1/2 written as a decimal is 3.5. And the last two, I'm not worried about estimating, but take 25%, make it a decimal, 0.25. We've talked about of means multiply. 0.48 times 60, 28.8. This should give you all the answers for today's review. The test looks almost exactly like it tomorrow. The test is 60 points. They are 3 points each. There are 20 questions. And I'm trying to think. Oh, the answers, it's pretty much right or wrong answers because there's nothing really I can do partial credit on. Okay, so good luck. Tomorrow test.